Abducted by royalty. Jack opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. Everything was bright and cold. He was lying on a metal floor, not his bed. Strange humming sounds filled the air. Blinking fast, he sat up and looked around. This was not Earth. The room was silver and glowing. The walls moved like liquid metal. Floating lights buzzed above him. He was inside some kind of alien ship. Panic hit him. Where am I? Jack whispered. He tried to stand, but something stopped him. Metal cuffs held his ankles. He was trapped in a glowing cage, like a box of light. He pulled at the bars, but they didn't move. A door slid open with a loud hiss. 6 tall figures walked in. They had sharp armor and strange skin. Purple, blue, green. Their eyes glowed. They spoke in a language Jack didn't know. Then one stepped forward. A woman. No, not just any woman. She was powerful, tall, and graceful. Her armor was black with golden edges. A glowing crown floated above her head. Her eyes were silver, and they stared straight at Jack. "So, this is the human," she said, her voice cold. Jack swallowed. Yeah, I guess." The guards laughed, but the woman didn't smile. "You may call me Princess Kyra," she said. "And you, human, are my new challenge." Jack frowned. "Challenge? What does that mean?" She stepped closer, her boots making soft thuds on the metal floor. "You have been chosen," Kyra said, "to prove yourself worthy." "Worthy of what?" Kyra tilted her head. "Of surviving. Of standing beside me. Of showing that humans are more than weak little animals." Jack raised an eyebrow. "You kidnapped me to insult me." She smirked. "No, I kidnapped you to test you." Suddenly, the floor shook. Jack grabbed the glowing bars to stay balanced. Red lights flashed. Kyra didn't move. She turned to the guards. "Take him to the trial chamber. Let's see if he lasts 10 minutes." Jack shouted, "Wait, I didn't sign up for this." Kyra looked back one last time. "Prove you can handle me, human," she said, "or die trying." The cage lifted off the ground. It floated through the ship as Jack held on, heart racing. Outside the bars, alien soldiers whispered, laughed, and pointed at him. "They think I'm weak," Jack thought. "They think I'm a joke." He clenched his fists. Not today. The cage stopped in a huge round room. It was a battle arena. The floor was cracked. Fire burned at the edges. Metal gates stood closed all around. Kyra sat above, on a floating throne. "Release him," she ordered. The cage disappeared. Jack dropped to the ground, ready to run. But the floor opened, and a massive creature climbed out. It had red scales, long claws, and sharp teeth. It roared at Jack. "What is that?" Jack yelled. Kyra's voice echoed. "Trial 1. The pit beast." The creature charged. Jack ran to the side, dodging claws. He grabbed a broken pipe from the ground. Not much, but better than nothing. The creature roared again. He rolled under it, hit its leg, then ran again. The crowd laughed. Kyra watched silently. Jack saw chains hanging from the ceiling. An idea. He climbed fast as the creature leaped at him. Just as it jumped, Jack swung and kicked the chain loose. The heavy metal dropped on the beast's head. It screamed and fell. Silence. Kyra stood up. Interesting. Jack breathed hard, shaking. "You survive," she said. "For now." Guards came and dragged him back to the glowing cage. His hands were shaking, but he smiled. "Still think I'm weak?" he asked. Kyra looked at him, her silver eyes shining. "You survived a pet," she said. "Now face real danger." Jack leaned back in the cage, heart still pounding. This was not a dream. This was war. And if he wanted to live, he had to beat the alien princess at her own game. The pit of fire. Jack didn't sleep. Even though the glowing cage returned him to a quiet room, his heart wouldn't stop racing. The beast's roar still echoed in his head. His hands still shook. He kept seeing her eyes, those cold silver eyes of Princess Kara, watching from above like a queen over a game. He sat with his back to the wall, staring at the floor. "What is this place?" he whispered to himself. He had seen strange planets on TV, watched sci-fi movies his whole life, but nothing felt like this. This wasn't a dream. It wasn't a game. It was real. And he was alone. But something caught his eye. On the floor, under the thin layer of dust, was a mark. He wiped the floor with his hand. It was a symbol, a circle with a line through it. Below it, tiny letters scratched into the metal. "Help. Earth. 2497. Jack's eyes widened. It was English. And it was old. Someone else was here. Before he could think more, the room lights flashed red. The cage jolted and lifted again. The ship's smooth walls passed by as he floated down another hallway. But this time, no guards laughed. No whispers. Just silence. The cage stopped and dropped him into another chamber. This room was bigger than the last, hotter, brighter, and deadly. Jack stepped out and looked around. He was standing on a small platform made of stone. Below him, lava bubbled and hissed. Long metal bridges stretched over the fire, but many of them were broken. Only one led to the other side. But the path wasn't empty. Spinning blades moved across the bridge. Fire burst from holes in the floor. The ceiling dropped spikes at random moments. Jack shook his head. "You've got to be kidding me." Above, Princess Kara appeared again, seated on her throne that floated across the room like a ghost. Her eyes sparkled with challenge. "Trial 2, she said. "The pit of fire." "What's the goal?" Jack called up. "Get to the other side," Kara said simply. "Or burn." Jack laughed once, bitter and short. "You really don't like humans, do you?" "Prove me wrong," she replied, voice calm. He stared at the bridge. Every step was danger. Every movement could mean death. But he had no choice. Jack took a deep breath and stepped onto the first panel. It held, then another. Fire burst near his foot. He jumped back. The lava hissed, waiting for him to slip. He had to move carefully, slowly. Time each jump. Trust his eyes, trust his body. "Okay, Jack," he whispered. "You're not a soldier, not a hero. You're just a guy. But today, you survive." He ran forward, leaped over a blade, ducked under spikes, rolled through flames. The heat was unbearable. Sweat poured down his face. His shirt caught a spark. He slapped it out fast. Kara watched without blinking. Halfway across, he slipped. His leg dangled over the edge. Lava hissed below. He screamed, pulling himself up with shaking arms. His skin burned where the metal cut into him. But he didn't let go. He crawled back onto the path, breathing hard. "You can quit," Kara called. "Many do." Jack stood, blood on his arm. "No," he said. "I don't quit." The next steps were faster. Blades came closer. Heat got worse. But Jack kept going. His legs burned. His lungs screamed. Finally, he reached the end. He fell to his knees on the platform, coughing. A long pause. Then, clapping. Slow, mocking claps from above. Kara floated down near him. "Not bad," she said. Jack looked up. "Not bad. I almost died." "Yes," she replied. "But you didn't. You used your body, your eyes, your heart. You passed." He stood slowly, still breathing heavy. "So what now? Another beast? Another trap?" Kara smiled, her first real smile. "No," she said. "Next, you face the truth." Jack blinked. "The truth. Follow me." A door opened. Jack walked through it, limping. Behind it was a dark hallway. No lava, no fire, just shadows. On the wall, a row of names glowed, names of other humans, crossed out, and one name that wasn't. Ryan Carter, missing. Jack stared at it. Who is he? He asked. Kyra didn't answer. Instead, she said, he was one of you. He made it farther than most, but he never made it home. Jack touched the wall. The metal was cold. The name pulsed softly. What happened to him? Kyra turned to him. Her voice was quiet now. You'll find out soon, if you survive trial 3. Jack looked into her eyes, and for the first time, he saw something human in them. Not hate, not cold. Maybe fear. He didn't know. But one thing was clear. He wasn't the first human here. And he might not be the last. Human blood was here. Jack followed Princess Kyra down the dark hallway. The lights on the walls flickered. Shadows moved across the floor. The air was cold, even though moments ago he had been sweating in fire. He didn't know where she was taking him. But something inside told him this was not another fight. This was something deeper. They walked in silence for a long time. Then, Kyra stopped in front of a round door. It opened slowly with a soft hiss. Jack stepped inside. The room was small, old, and hidden. It didn't look like the rest of the ship. The walls were rough, made of stone, not metal. Dust floated in the air. In the center was a table made of glass, cracked in the middle. Strange tools lay scattered on it. A small broken screen blinked once, then died. Jack's eyes were drawn to the far wall. It was covered in writing. English. He rushed over and touched it. The letters were scratched into the stone with something sharp. Maybe a nail. Maybe a broken piece of metal. I am Ryan Carter. I came here 2 years ago. They took me from Earth. I passed trial 1. I passed trial 2. But then, I saw the truth. Jack's chest tightened. He was real, he whispered. He existed. He kept reading. The princess, Kyra, is not what she seems. She says the trials are a test. But they are more. They are a choice. One day, she will offer it to you. If you say yes, everything changes. Jack turned to Kyra. What does this mean? Kyra's face was calm. Keep reading. Jack looked back at the wall. I fell in love with her. I thought she cared. I thought I could trust her. I was wrong. The words were scratched harder, deeper, angry. I tried to escape. They punished me. They took everything. If you are reading this, human, run, before it's too late. Jack stepped back, breathing fast. He looked at the floor. Near the writing was a stain. Dark, dry. Blood. He froze. You killed him, Jack said quietly. Kyra didn't answer. You killed Ryan. She walked to the table and picked up a small black book. She handed it to Jack. His journal, she said. You should know the whole story. Jack opened the first page. Day 1. The alien ship is cold. They say I've been chosen. I don't believe them. He flipped through. Day 12. I survived the trials. Kyra looks at me differently now. She says, I'm special. Day 20. We kissed. Jack stopped reading. Kyra sat down on the edge of the glass table. He was brave, she said, but his heart was weak. He didn't understand what it meant to stand beside a queen. Jack looked at her. You used him. Kyra's eyes darkened. I offered him everything. He said he loved me, but he loved his planet more. What's wrong with that? Jack asked. I don't need a man who runs, she said. I need a man who fights. The door behind them opened. A guard walked in and handed Kyra a small device. She looked at it, then showed it to Jack. It was a hologram of Earth, flashing red. Your planet is under threat, she said. My father, the king, sees no value in it. He will destroy it in 5 days. Jack stared at the image. Cities were marked with red crosses. Countdowns ticked over them. You can stop it, Jack said. Yes, Kyra replied, but only if I take the throne. And to do that, I must choose a mate. Jack blinked. You mean? She nodded. The trials are not just tests of strength. They are tests of loyalty, of will, of heart. If you survive all 7, you become more than a winner. You become a prince. Jack took a step back. Is this why you brought me here? To marry me. Kyra stood up. No, she said. I brought you here because you are different. You didn't beg. You didn't cry. You faced the pit. You crossed the fire. And you still look me in the eye. Jack looked down at Ryan's journal. He did too, Jack said. And he died. Kyra walked to the door. Trial 3 begins now. Jack clenched his fists. What kind of trial is it this time? Another beast? A weapon? What? Kyra turned to him. No, she said. This time, you face your own kind. The hallway lights turned red. Alarms began to beep. The ship started to shake. What's happening? Jack asked. Kyra looked calm. Your people are here. A small group of humans. They think they are rescuing you. Jack's heart jumped. What? That's great. Kyra shook her head. Or is it? If you run with them, the trials end. I will kill them, and your planet burns. Jack stepped back. But if you fight them, and stay, your people may live, and so may your world. He stared at her. This isn't a test, he said. It's a trap. Kyra smiled. No, she said softly. It's a choice. The warriors' duel. Jack stood frozen as the red lights flashed around him. The walls of the alien ship shook softly, like a quiet warning. Humans, on the ship. His heart raced. He had dreamed of this moment. Other people from Earth. Maybe a rescue team. Maybe soldiers. Maybe scientists. But when the doors opened, it wasn't what he expected. 5 figures stepped inside. They wore black armor with glowing blue stripes. Their helmets were shaped like Earth tech, but with alien upgrades. Their guns looked sharp, dangerous. One of them had the flag of Earth stitched to his chest. Jack stepped forward. Hey, I'm Jack. I'm one of you. They pointed their weapons at him. The leader raised a hand. Don't move. Wait, Jack said. Hands up. I'm human. I was taken too. I passed the trials. The leader took off his helmet. A young man with dark skin and sharp eyes looked at Jack like he was looking at an enemy. You're the one they told us about, the man said. The human who's helping the alien princess. Jack frowned. What? No, I'm not helping her. She kidnapped me, just like you. The man stepped forward. My name is Lieutenant Jordan, and you're a traitor. Jack's mouth opened, but no words came out. We picked up transmissions, Jordan continued. You've been seen walking beside Princess Kyra. You fought in the trials. You're part of her plan. No, it's not like that, Jack shouted. She said if I finish the trials, I can stop the war, save Earth. Jordan raised his gun again. Earth doesn't need you to save it. We came to get you out. Now you either come quietly, or we put you down. Jack looked past Jordan. 2 of the other humans had already moved to the sides of the room, blocking escape paths. He glanced at Kyra, who stood at the edge of the hallway, watching with blank eyes. She said nothing. Jack took a deep breath. I don't want to fight you. Then don't, Jordan said. Stand down. Jack lowered his hands, and suddenly threw a piece of broken metal at the ceiling light. Sparks flew. The humans ducked. Jack dashed forward and tackled Jordan. The 2 crashed into the wall. Fists flew. Pain burned in Jack's ribs. He had never trained for this. He was not a soldier, but he had fought alien beasts. He had crossed fire and death. And he wasn't going to run now. The room became chaos. One of the soldiers fired a stun shot. Jack rolled under it. Another swung a baton. Jack caught the arm and twisted. Someone yelled. Boots slammed the floor. Jordan grabbed Jack by the shirt and slammed him down. "Traitor," he shouted. "I'm not," Jack roared back, headbutting him. They fell apart, gasping. Then a loud sound filled the room. Kyra's voice. "Enough." She raised one hand, and the ship obeyed. A blue force field dropped between Jack and the soldiers. They pounded against it, but it wouldn't move. Kyra walked to Jack, staring at him with quiet eyes. "You chose not to run," she said. Jack nodded, shaking. "Good," she said. "Then we begin the next trial." Jack looked confused. "What? That wasn't it." Kyra pointed to a large door behind her. "Trial 4. The Warrior's Duel. One-on-one combat. No tricks. No traps. Only skill and heart." Jack blinked. "Against who?" A loud clank echoed through the ship. The door opened. A giant walked through it. 7 feet tall. Muscles like stone. Deep blue skin. His face had a long scar down one cheek. Glowing armor covered his body. A massive hammer rested in his hand. "This is Cathor," Kyra said. "My royal guard. Trained since birth. Undefeated." Cathor looked at Jack and laughed. "This is the human. He survived the pit," Kyra said. Cathor snorted. "Then he dies slower." Jack looked up at the monster in front of him. "Great," he muttered, from one fight into another. The arena changed again. The floor opened, and Jack was pushed forward. A round stage rose from below. Energy walls surrounded it, locking them in. No weapons, just hands, fists, rage. Jack stood in the center. Cathor stepped in, cracking his knuckles. The bell rang. Cathor rushed forward like a train. Jack barely dodged. The giant's fist missed his head by inches. He ducked, jumped, rolled. A knee slammed into his side. He cried out and flew across the floor. Blood hit his lip, but he stood up again. "You stay down now," Cathor growled. Jack smiled, broken and bleeding. Not a chance. He dashed in, using speed. He hit the giant's leg, then ran. Again. Chip away. Wear him down. Cathor roared. He chased Jack, but Jack was faster and smarter. He jumped behind a pillar and waited. When Cathor came close, Jack kicked him in the knee. The giant fell for a second. Jack climbed onto his back and punched again and again. But Cathor threw him off. Jack landed hard. The floor shook. He couldn't breathe. His vision blurred. The crowd above went silent. Then a voice. "Stand, human." It was Kyra. He pushed up, shaking. "Stand," she said again. "Show me what you are." Jack screamed, ran, and slammed his elbow into Cathor's neck. The giant fell. The arena went quiet. Jack stood over him, blood dripping from his face. Kyra stepped forward. "You win." Jack dropped to his knees. Behind the glass, the human soldiers watched in silence. And in Kyra's eyes, for the first time, was respect. The princess's challenge. Jack lay on the cold floor, breathing hard. His body hurt everywhere. Bruises, cuts, sharp pain in his side. But he was still alive. He had done the impossible. He had defeated Cathor, the royal guard of the alien princess. The crowd above was silent. Even the alien generals who once mocked him now whispered among themselves. Jack looked up, blood dripping from his forehead. Princess Kyra stood at the edge of the arena, staring down at him. Her silver eyes didn't blink. She raised one hand. The floor lowered. Jack sank into the darkness. The light above faded, and the silence returned. Then everything went black. Jack opened his eyes slowly. He was lying on something soft. Maybe a bed. Not a prison cell. Not a training room. This place was quiet. He sat up. The walls were smooth and white. Candles burned on the corners. A soft breeze moved the curtains. There was a large window showing the stars outside. He wasn't in a cage. He wasn't in pain anymore. He was in the princess's chambers. A door opened. Kyra entered. But this time, she wasn't wearing armor. She wore a long robe made of silver threads, like moonlight stitched into fabric. Her hair was down. No crown. No guards. Just her. Jack stood up slowly, unsure. "What is this?" he asked. Kyra walked to the window and looked out. Her voice was softer now. "This is the 5th trial." Jack blinked. "Another fight?" "No," she said. "This time, you don't use your fists." She turned around. "This time, you use your heart." He frowned. "You mean like a love test?" Kyra didn't smile. "No, love can be fake. This is a test of truth, of feeling, of soul." Jack sat on the edge of the bed, unsure. "Why me?" he asked. "Why am I still alive?" Kyra walked over and sat across from him. "Because you surprised me." She picked up a small glass cube from the table. Inside it, a tiny flower floated. "Do you know what this is?" she asked. Jack shook his head. "It's from my home planet," she said. "It only grows once every 100 years. It lives for 3 days. Then it dies." "Why keep it?" Jack asked. "Because it reminds me that beauty doesn't need to last forever," she replied. She handed the cube to Jack. "Tell me something," Kyra said. "Something real. Something no one else knows." Jack looked at the flower. Memories rushed in. "My dad used to fix old bikes," he said quietly. "We didn't have money for cars. Every Saturday, he'd pull me outside, even if it rained. He'd say, 'Machines may break, son, but time with you never will.'" Kyra said nothing. Jack continued, voice lower. "He died when I was 15. Heart attack. I never got to say goodbye. Never told him I hated those bikes, but loved those moments." Kyra reached forward and took the cube back gently. "You passed," she said. "That's it?" Jack asked. "No," she said. "Now, it's my turn." She stood up and walked to the wall. She pressed her hand against a glowing panel. It opened. Inside, behind clear glass, was a child's drawing. Scribbled lines. Stick figures. A small house under 2 moons. A woman and a small girl, holding hands. "I drew this when I was 6, Kyra said. "My mother and I, before she died in war." Jack walked closer, silent. "After that," she said, "my father turned me into a weapon. He said emotions were weakness. He locked away this drawing and told me to forget her." She looked at Jack, but I couldn't. A long pause filled the room. "Why are you showing me this?" Jack asked softly. "Because," Kyra said, stepping close to him, "you are the first person in years who hasn't feared me, who hasn't lied to me, who hasn't tried to take something from me." Jack looked into her eyes. They weren't cold anymore. They were tired, lonely, and real. "What happens now?" he asked. Kyra took his hand. "You stay here tonight," she said. "Rest. Tomorrow, we face the council." "For what?" "To prove," she said, "that a human can stand beside a princess. Not as a slave, not as a servant, not as a toy." She stepped closer. "But as a partner." They stood there, inches apart. Jack's heart beat fast. Kyra leaned in slowly. Her lips touched his cheek. Not a kiss. Not romance. Just a moment of connection. "Good night, Jack," she whispered. And she left the room. That night, Jack didn't sleep much. Not because of fear, but because, for the first time since he was taken from Earth, he didn't feel alone. The price of the throne. The next morning, Jack stood in front of a giant silver gate. His heart beat slow, heavy. He was dressed in simple clothes, not armor, not chains. The robe he wore felt soft against his bruises. A symbol was drawn across his chest, the mark of the 5th trial survivor. Behind that gate was the royal council of Kira's empire. Inside, Aliens with power and judgment waited to decide one thing. Could a human ever stand beside a princess? Jack looked to his side. Princess Kara stood still, silent. Her face showed nothing, but her fingers trembled slightly at her side. Jack noticed, and somehow, that made him feel stronger. The gates opened. Bright white light poured out. The floor inside was shining crystal. Long stone seats circled the room like a theater. Alien leaders sat in silence, eyes glowing. Some had smooth heads, others wore long robes. Many had scars, weapons, medals. They had seen war, and now they would see Jack. Kyra stepped forward first. She raised her voice. I bring the human before the court. He has survived 5 trials. He has not broken. He has not run. He has shown strength and spirit. A tall alien with horns stood. His voice boomed through the chamber. Strength is not enough, he said. Earth is weak. Humans are emotional. They cannot lead. They cannot rule. You are wrong, Kyra replied. This one, Jack, he is different. The council laughed. Jack stepped forward. He spoke clearly. I never asked to be here, he said. I didn't come to rule. I didn't come to fight. But I was taken. I was tested. And I survived. He looked around the room. I don't want power. I want peace. I want my world to live. One of the council elders leaned forward. And what would you give? He asked slowly, to save your world. Jack hesitated. What do you mean? The elder raised a hand. A hologram appeared. It showed Earth, cities, oceans, trees, clouds. Then the screen zoomed in. Large alien ships hovered over the sky. Countdown clocks blinked red. 4 days left. If you want to save Earth, the elder said, you must pay the price. Jack's fists tightened. What price? Kyra stepped forward, voice low. They want you to stay, she said. Forever. Jack's eyes widened. What? You pass all 7 trials, Kyra explained, and you take the throne with me. You stop the war. You save Earth. But, she looked away. You can never return home. Silence filled the room. Jack stepped back. I don't understand. The horned alien said, if we allow a human into our royal bloodline, into our command, we demand loyalty. Full loyalty. No going back. No contact with Earth. No family. No escape. Jack felt like the floor had vanished beneath him. No Earth. No home. No family. He thought of his mother's old kitchen, his father's garage, his best friend's laugh, the smell of pizza, the sound of rain on a city window. Gone. Forever. He turned to Kira. You knew, he said. She nodded. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to choose for yourself, she said. Not out of fear, not for me. For something bigger. Jack looked back at the council. His voice shook. And if I say no? The horned alien replied. Then Earth is burned. Your people erased. And you are sent to the mines, where traitors go. Jack's heart dropped. This wasn't just a test. It was everything. He looked at Kyra. What do you want? He asked. Kyra took a step closer. I want peace, she said, but not at the cost of your soul. If you say no, I'll fight the council myself. You'll lose. Maybe, she whispered, but you'll live. Jack closed his eyes. His thoughts ran wild. But slowly, they quieted. And he remembered something. His father's words. Machines break, son. Time doesn't. Time. Time with people. Time with life. Maybe he couldn't go back. But maybe he could give others that chance. He opened his eyes. And he spoke. I will stay. Gasps filled the chamber. The elders stood. The room rumbled. The hologram of Earth turned green. Countdown stopped. The horned alien raised both arms. The human has chosen. The throne is now open. The war ends today. The council chanted in strange language. Kyra stepped forward, her voice full of emotion now. You will never be forgotten, Jack. He looked at her. I better not be. She smiled. And for the first time, he smiled too. Handle me or leave me. Jack stood at the center of the royal hall, dressed in dark silver robes. His body still ached from the trials. His heart was heavy from the choice he made. But his eyes held something new now. Purpose. Outside, alien horns echoed across the sky. Massive ships that once pointed weapons at Earth were now pulling back. Peace flags were raised. Beams of light stretched across stars. For the first time in history, Earth was safe. Inside the palace, the air was tense. The royal throne room was full. Alien generals stood in polished armor. Advisors whispered in foreign languages. Kyra stood at the front, wearing her ceremonial crown, a crown made not of gold, but of stardust and memory. She looked at Jack, not as a warrior, not as a test subject, but as her equal. Are you ready? She asked. Jack gave a half smile. Do I get to punch anyone today? Hopefully not, she replied. Unless someone tries to kill us. They both laughed. For a moment, the pain of trials, the weight of sacrifice, it all melted away. But only for a moment. Because then, the lights died. A low hum filled the chamber. The floor trembled. Guards reached for weapons. A shadow fell over the thrones. And from the back doors, a cloaked figure stepped in. The crowd parted. The figure walked slowly, each step like thunder. Long cloak, sharp boots, silver mask. Then he stopped in the middle. He pulled back the hood. Gasps filled the room. Kyra froze. Jack's hand tightened. No, she whispered. It was General Salek, her father's most loyal commander. And her secret uncle. A man who once trained her to fight, but had vanished after her mother's death. You shouldn't be here, Kyra said. Salek's voice was low and cruel. You're wrong, niece. I should have been here long ago. To stop this shameful union. He turned to the council. A human on the throne. A species of weak bones and soft hearts. You all have lost your minds. Kyra stepped forward. You're too late. The council already agreed. Salek smirked. Then I guess I must change their minds. With blood. He lifted one hand. The palace shook. Explosions hit the outer walls. Traitor ships uncloaked in the sky. Alien soldiers inside the palace pulled out weapons. They were Salek's men. A full coup. A betrayal from within. Chaos broke out. Jack grabbed Kira's hand and pulled her behind the throne. You planned for this, he shouted. No, she said, but I hoped it wouldn't come to this. Salek's voice echoed again. You want to be with the human, then die with him. He raised a sword charged with dark energy. Kyra pulled out a small dagger. Jack looked at it. That's it. This is royal steel, she said, made from a star's heart. Cool, Jack said, but I've got nothing. Kyra smirked. You've got me. They ran. The palace turned into a battlefield. Jack dodged laser blasts. Kira fought with elegance and rage. Jack picked up a metal rod from a fallen guard and blocked a shot aimed at her. Nice move, Kyra said. Thanks. Let's not die yet. Together, they reached the great hall doors. But Salek blocked the exit. Traitors, he growled. I raised you, Kyra. I shaped you. And you let love ruin everything. No, she said, eyes burning. Love saved me. She threw the dagger. Salek dodged. But Jack tackled him. They rolled across the floor. Jack punched, dodged, blocked. But Salek was strong. He slammed Jack against a wall. You don't belong here, Salek hissed. Jack coughed blood, but grinned. Maybe not, but neither do tyrants. He kicked Salek back just as Kyra leaped and drove her dagger into Salek's side. He froze. eyes wide. And then he fell. The room went quiet. Kyra stood shaking, breath heavy. Jack walked to her, touched her shoulder. "It's over," he said. She turned. "Not yet." They went back to the throne. Jack stood before the council. "You all saw what happened," Kyra said. "Even here, the biggest enemy was not outside. It was pride, hate, power without love." She looked at Jack. This human chose sacrifice. He gave up his planet, his people, his freedom, for us. She reached for his hand. "And if he still wants it, he can have my throne. With me." Jack looked around. He saw fear. He saw doubt. But he also saw hope. "I don't want to rule," he said. "I just want to help." He looked at Kyra. "But maybe we can do both. Together." The council stood and bowed. The galaxy changed that day. Epilogue. Years later, stories spread across stars about the human who survived the trials. The human who faced fire, pain, and heartbreak, and chose to stay, to lead, to love, not with weapons, not with threats, but with heart. And when children on alien worlds asked their mothers about the strange man beside the alien queen, they smiled and said, "He proved he could handle her."